you have been making headlines in Pakistani media lately. Today I'll try to contain my questions so that you don't have to repeat yourself or you don't have to state what you have stated already. But, it's really good. One thing which I really liked about your previous interviews where you said that you have this commitment with the Pakistani nation. You have this commitment with the people of Pakistan. And you want us to know that who looted us, who plundered the country, and who made assets abroad, stashed their money abroad. But, one question comes to my mind that, it's really good, it's great that we should know who deceived us and how we were deceived. But why now? And why not before?
Well, why not before? We were contracted to find the assets of approximately 200 people that they had named. And before we was on the starting block, we began to sense that we were being prevented. And that sense was correct. And very soon, the first head of NAB, General Amjad, resigned, and Farooq Adam Khan resigned, and then NAB went downhill from there. Why now? Is because now the evidence has come out because beyond a shadow of doubt, a London Court of International Arbitration, a very senior English judge, has heard thousands of hours of evidence and documents, read them, and Pakistan was represented by the leading law firm on the planet on these issues of arbitration. Why now? Is because right now the decision of Sir Anthony Evans, the former of the Court of Appeal of England and Wales, has come out, and people realize that it is the ultimate rebuttal to all the nonsense that's going out and being put out by the Sharif family and Asif Zardari and all the other thieves who were on the list of the investigation. Secondly, unfortunately, we had to enforce against the government of Pakistan because this rather foolish man who is in charge of settling this thing, Mr. Shahbaz Akbar, he thought he's in the bazaar trying to trade a carpet rather than obey court orders. And the reason for that is that in itself is a scandal. A government that I know is doing its best under Imran Khan to be law-abiding and doing its best to try to abide by court orders. Unfortunately, the representative plenipotentiary, he came to see me, was more interested in haggling over the price of reducing the court award rather than investigating the $1 billion that I had said have been transferred to Singapore. If this gentleman was willing to show the slightest respect for the rule of law, and I'm giving credit to the new government of Pakistan in that they appear to be genuinely trying, but the performance of this man wasn't exactly stellar when it comes to showing respect for the rule of law. That's my short answer, but if you've got a long answer, we can go on into greater detail.
Yeah, okay. Mr. Moussavi, you also said in one of your previous interviews that, and you just mentioned him again, that NAB was very cooperative during his tenure and the investigation was going very well, but then he was removed quickly and it just went downhill from there. But, you also said that he was very naive to think that he could clean up Pakistan. He wanted a corruption-free Pakistan. But now the man in the driver's seat is Imran Khan. He's the chief executive of this country. He is the prime minister of this country. And he has the same objective. He also wants a corruption-free Pakistan. He also says that, I want this accountability across the board. And what's the difference now? Do you think Imran Khan being in this chair, you think he would succeed?
Well, I take my hat off to Imran. He's an Oxford man, and I have no reason to doubt his personal integrity. Yes, I'm hoping that he will succeed, but I know he's walking the minefield. He
was just the head of one organization, one institution, that was NAB, but Prime Minister Imran Khan, obviously, he's the chief executive. All the institutions are under him now.
That's right. I mean, I certainly don't envy the task that he has. It's having to negotiate a political minefield, and at every corner I can see they're going to lay traps for him, and he's got to. I should be pleased to assist in any way I can, but yeah, I don't certainly not underestimate the problems that he's facing, given the nature of the political system. Amjad in the tribunal before Sir Anthony Evans said this country has been plundered by its political elite. A minister yesterday said that it's been, excuse me, please forgive me for saying this, it hasn't been plundered, it's been by this political elite. So Imran has got a very serious problem on his hands, and I wish him all good luck.
Yeah. Okay. Prime Minister Imran Khan also tweeted after all these revelations made by you. He said it's just tip of the iceberg, and he also said that we want complete transparency from Broad Sheet on our elites' money laundering and on who stopped these investigations. So since PM tweeted this, did anybody from the government contact you, approach you after this whole revelation thing?
No. I haven't been contacted by. I've been contacted by individuals that I totally trust, models of human rights integrity. And that's why I must tell you, it's a breath of fresh air. The approaches that I'm getting from the new government, at least through intermediaries that I can totally trust for the integrity, as opposed to the crooks who were being sent like this guy Anjum Dar and Malik and all the rest of it. These are the things that when I read the Prime Minister's tweets, I think, well, at long last, maybe the people of Pakistan are beginning to get what they deserve in terms of a government that serves rather than the government that steals. I'm hoping that's what it's going to be. Yeah,
Prime Minister tweeted this. Then just today, Public Accounts Committee of Pakistan, they also announced that they will also initiate an investigation into the revelations made by you, by your company, and they also directed NAB to declare their contract, what sort of agreement they had with you, and how much was paid for it. I understand that you have been skeptical about this whole thing because of your past experiences, but do you see any silver lining? Because as I said earlier, that what I liked most about your interviews was this one line when you say that this was your commitment with the people of Pakistan and you want us to know what actually happened. So do you see any silver lining? Well, the silver lining is demonstrated by your presence. It's individuals, honest journalists like yourself, who are determined to not let this story go, and they want silver lining is the publicity. The silver lining is the exposure. Sunlight is a very powerful disinfectant. It disinfects corruption. It disinfects the festering wounds that are created by corruption. I'm a human rights lawyer, and I can see the effect of corruption. Corruption means that if the budget of the clean water is stolen, children start getting all sorts of gastroenteritis and problems. If the budget of the health ministry is stolen, then Pakistani people don't get health. If the budget of the Ministry of Education is stolen, kids have to go and be taught by the kind of people who have no interest in their education. So corruption is a serious human rights issue, and I'm delighted I get a sense. I haven't done this empirically in deep detail because I don't have a contract with the government of Pakistan anymore, but I get a sense that a breath of fresh air is beginning to go through the corridors of power in Pakistan. I hope so that too. But tell me one thing, that what is the current status of your company, Broad Sheet? And as you mentioned, that two companies were set up then. One was to go after Zardari's asset, and one, Broad Sheet, was to go after Sharif's family. So what is the current status of these two companies? Well, as the judge said, as Sir Anthony Evans said, that the judgment is clear. The government of Pakistan and NAB conspired to defraud. Not my words, his lordship's words. The words of the judge. There was a conspiracy by Pakistan to defraud.
defraud Broadsheet. So Broadsheet had spent millions of dollars, didn't receive its bills, so he had to go into liquidation. But I was damned if I was going to allow a bunch of thieves to put our asset recovery on behalf of my real employers, who are the people of Pakistan, not the government of Pakistan, not this fraud masquerading as an accountability organization for all these years called NAB. I said to my employers are the people of Pakistan, and I intend to see this through. I intend to see this through so the people of Pakistan, see what's being done in their name, and more importantly, make sure that the stolen assets are back. And so I'm very delighted that this is happening. So Broadsheet at the moment is in liquidation. I personally haven't received any money, but we had to seize some money because somehow the government were unable to get their act together to honor the award. And that's very damaging for the government of Pakistan. You know, I see this breath of fresh air coming from the Imran Khan government. I wish them all success, but they must note that the international markets pay attention to these things. And if a government does not obey court orders, the bond markets take account of that. It's one thing to lend money to someone who's honorable and law-abiding and behaves according to the rules of law. Another one, you have to force them to disgorge what they've taken. And it's best if the government of Pakistan does not create that impression, which was what I was trying to tell Shahzad Akbar when he came to see me. I said,
you just mentioned this London High Court's judgment by Judge Anthony Evans. And obviously, as you mentioned, that the judgment also said that your efforts were sabotaged and there was a conspiracy to defraud your company, Broad Sheet, and, you know, they did everything to disrupt your operations and prevent you from carrying out your duties. But now, is there any way, as you obviously keep mentioning Imran Khan, and you're hopeful that he is in power, he's in charge, and he can, you know, do wonders if he wants, but is there any way that your company now can work with your Oxford friend? Is there any way you could assist his government? Because he wants the same thing. He keeps telling his nation that I want that stolen money back in Pakistan.
Well, you know, my employers are the people of Pakistan. It's the people of Pakistan intermediated through a fresh government. I am more than happy to oblige in these circumstances. The reality is that at the moment, you know, we are at the end of a dispute, and I'm more than happy to resume relationships if we have to do that. I'm more than happy to do that.